But is there anything you'd like to inquire into myself or?
Yeah, and what you're talking about there are just really subtle forms of communication. Subtle forms of communication. But yes, yeah, my question I have for you is in regards to your experience coming here or acclimating to Japan, right? And the backdrop to that is, you know, I'm a writer and I'm looking for my next book. And my next book, I'm going to be able to just write anything I want. Okay. So I'm looking for something that's, I always wanted to show aspects of culture that people want to know. And the two things that people want to know, like, is like, for example, gang culture or underworld stuff, right? Because especially in Japan, the underworld, so to speak, when you start to be able to see it, not that I have any experience, but one time I went camping. My wife and I went camping, and it was a Yakuza group next to us, right? And you know, because we've seen all the tats and everything like that, but they told us before they even exposed all that, because they're like, yo, you want to leave, roll out, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but it was like we just camped, hung out with these cats, and they were just regular people. You know what I'm saying? Okay. They were just regular people. I mean, and I saw they had a meeting in the morning. You know, it looked just like the meeting I had when I was a high school teacher.
Yeah, like a military meeting, right?
Yeah, it's just a meeting. Everybody knows. You could, and by looking at I could tell who was in charge. Where I mean, just looking at the meeting, I'm not like eavesdrop paying attention. He's camping. You know what I'm saying? So you know, you ain't got that much to look at.
Yeah, right.
So you gonna notice this meeting of 30 people. You know, that's, you know, it's only like 20 yards from me or something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm enjoying my coffee, you know what I'm saying? But my point is, I was like, yeah, why am I talking about this? Oh yeah. So that's an aspect that Western people really, really want to know, like how that's incorporated. And you gave me a hint. I know you know a little bit something about that. So, well, yeah. How did you acclimate? Like, you know, what was your first, you know, touching down and from not just touching down your first visit, but I mean, when you got to the point where you're like, okay, now I'm into living here. I'm making a living
Yeah,
here.
my first journey into Japan was with the PACAF tour. I was a GS-12 and working with the Air Force. So we toured all of Asia. My second venture.
Okay, so wait a minute. You were in the Air Force, or you were a civilian that was employed by the Air Force or contracted?
Employed by the Air Force, GS-12. I had a lieutenant colonel clearance due to my salary, which was interesting because I could go watch the stealth jets take off and land, and I could ride on the private jets to and from different locations. So
wow. Okay.
With my first Japanese experience, it was really special. And it wasn't so much Yakuza based. It was base life. And the Ryukyu woman that took me to be her man.
So Ryukyu is the chain of islands that Okinawa is a part of. There's lots of them, but it's not just Okinawa. Those are the main ones.
Exactly. There's another one called Ishigaki, right?
There's a lot, a bunch of them. I don't even know.
Yeah, there's some 200 and some odd islands.
Yeah.
Some 200 and some odd islands here I would love to visit, man. Because the most uninhabited they are, the better for me. I'm like, you know, really a frontiersman. Anyway, the second time I'm here on a contract.
Fast forward a little bit, because I want to kind of get to the part where you're like really dealing with Japanese people.
Okay, I'm dealing with people here due to my contract. I'm in Yokohama. From Yokohama, I go to Nagoya. My first gig in Nagoya.
Is that Gary's?
Yeah, Gary's. You know Gary's.
Yeah. No, I don't think I ever met him, but I've been there a couple times. Yeah.
The interesting thing was, now I'm meeting these brothers from Detroit and from America, and we're all playing together, which is cool. But coming off the stage, this chick grabs my arm, right? And she won't let it go. You know, and I find that very unusual. Brothers had to come and actually.
This is a Japanese woman.
Yeah, Japanese woman. So I'm thinking to myself, this lady's not mentally stable, right? You know, but I'm kind of used to this because even in kindergarten, my Libra rising and my double Aries moon and sun, in kindergarten, some chick just jumped me in the first day of kindergarten, man, all on top of me, man. You know, I don't know what it is. It affects women. It affects women strange. Anyway, this vibe affected her strange. So I had to channel that energy, have her teach me to where my band house was and dismiss her kindly, you know, and let her go on her merry way. But, you know, the bottom line, I had to engage in that. Then I began to realize that not everybody here is stable. Now, leaving Nagoya, I'm with an agent who sent me to Nagoya, Osaka, and then ultimately from Osaka to Fukuoka.
When you say you were getting sent to these places, you were staying in these places for about how long?
Okay, here we go. Basically, my contract was a 3-month contract.
Okay, so 3 months, you got an apartment, you stayed there for 3 months, and then you go.
I'm in a band house at each spot. Okay.
Oh, a band house. Okay.
I'm in my own apartment. Okay. Now, depending on the gig, because sometimes the weekend gigs would take me from Nagoya to Osaka, sometimes from Nagoya to Gifu, sometimes from Osaka to Yokohama. You know, anyway, I've worked Japan from Okinawa to Hokkaido. Okay? All of it. They're just on gigs, on assignments. Okay? It's being assigned. Now, once I got to Fukuoka, I got stationary. Okay? I began to see the workings of how things work. Okay.
Okay, this is what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, in Fukuoka. One day I came to work after working there, man, like 7 years. my interaction with Yakuzas, right? I may need you to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, because
not a problem.
Maybe some of this stuff is, you know, like the CIA say, if I tell you I got a kid, no. But
don't kill me, brother. Don't kill me, brother.
No, we're not gonna kill you.
Don't tell me nothing you gotta kill me.
I don't want anybody coming for me either. you know, but for some reason, due to my training in Hong Kong, my training in Taiwan, because I had to deal directly with bosses, because I was a boss, okay? And even though I didn't know the culture, I learned to watch and pay attention to subtle things, to the small things, okay? And then the Yan Li Fin, who taught me in Taiwan, she was a general manager of 7-Elevens for a particular area, district, and she taught me the tea ceremony. How you don't drink faster than the Oyabu. Whoever's in charge, you follow his lead. Like if he takes a piece of cheese, you take a piece of cheese. You know, if he takes a drink from his tea, then it's okay for you to take a drink from your tea. Because during this particular meeting, what's happening is they're looking at your character. Okay? Should you be a person that comes off in the negotiations as a greedy person, a selfish person, or they're going to see all your weaknesses and they're going to play their negotiations to your weaknesses in order to have advantage over you. Okay? And that's what I was taught and how to observe the whole thing. Now, because of that,
and all of that goes in what he's saying is what I explained in the Yamato Code.
Yeah, the code.
Right? The Yamato Code. That, you know, all of that. Yeah.
That code
being reserved.
Whether they wish to admit it or not, is very Chiokuji or Chinese, or how can I say, that code is rooted out of China, okay, like kanji, okay.
There you go. Like kanji, like ramen, like the houses, like chopsticks, like okay, etc., etc.
All right. So when we speak of that code, I had to learn it from the originators of the code, okay? And so when I got here, and the way I dealt with was based on me just leaving China as a boss, okay? Even though I'm a member in a band, who, and because of the etiquette that had been placed into me, not by my parents and by the Nation of Islam and just by my experiences in life, my manners, okay? Black folks stress manners. If you don't have nothing else when you leave this house, boy, you gonna have manners.
And a lot of people don't know that about Black homes, Black people, because of all the media hype now and all of the fathers who aren't in the homes any longer, the breakdown of culture. So can you say that real quick? Can you just describe just a little bit about your home, the home that you're describing right now, that you learned these manners? What kind of home was that?
I came from a 2-parent home, okay? Dad was a police sergeant who had dodged the military. He dodged the military during the Korean War.
Okay, where was this? Where?
In Chicago. I'm in Chicago. I grew up in Chicago.
We're talking about Chi-Town, Windy City.
Yeah, Chi-Town. Yeah, so.
South side?
South side. South side of Chicago, okay? Dad being a policeman, as well as a mason. So he always had 2 jobs, right? Like sometimes he would wake me up, I would go with him when I was 7, 8 years old, man, to go pick up clothes for AMVETS. You remember this thing called AMVETS? It's like Salvation Army. Anyway, you go pick up the old clothes and you take them to the recycle center for people and we would go into these very affluent neighborhoods of Caucasian people who were getting rid of their old clothes that were like brand new. We would take them but in the back of the truck, Pops would pull over and go like, find whatever you need and then put it in this bag. Okay? We're gonna take it to the cleaners so you can have something fresh to wear to school. All right? So he always had an agenda for his agenda. Yeah, it was always a hustle.
Always a hustle, yeah.
9 years old, before I go to school, I go help Dad. Before he goes to work and before I go to school, right? Mom, Jamaican roots. Dad's parents were out of Arkansas, Louisiana. They were Thompsons. The Thompsons, basically, if you look up Thompson Indians, you will find them called Nana-Palomac, out of Salish Indians, out of Canada. My grandmother was named Thompson before she married my grandfather. So they were Thompsons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Her brother ultimately became state senator, and from there came a lot of clout in Chicago and in Illinois, and from there it trickled down.
But bring it back to your household though. You got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got one sister, and my mom being from that Jamaican background.
Sister, she older, younger?
Younger sister. I had a younger.
So you the big brother.
I'm the big brother.
Okay.
I'm the big brother, basically the prince of the household, because Mama didn't have no other way. Now, two things that were very interesting in my household.
Hold on, was your father strict?
Very strict.
Okay.
Very, very strict, but he liked to kid with you too. He was this kind of cat. He would wake you up in the morning playing saxophone or flute instead of alarm clock.
Wow, that's a big difference. Yeah, man. I hate alarm clocks to this day, man. Yo, straight up. I mean, I actually, like now, I got my life where I don't have to wake up early that often. So I'm just kind of scared. But I really don't need an alarm clock. I can just tell myself, wake up at this time, and I'll wake up. But I think part of it is because of the trauma. I hate that sound. and even like when I was mad, even I'd say, don't wake me up, don't shake me. If you want to really see, you know, how much of an asshole I can be, you know what I'm saying? Then go ahead and shake me. I'll give it to you all day. I mean, it's just one of those things. It bothers me. It messes up my whole day.
It messes up your harmony.
Yeah. Because I start out wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared for that.
Yes, sir.
You know?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry.
I completely understand. Anyway, the old man would wake me and my sister up. I'd be playing tenor saxophone. He was a saxophonist, and he would play flute. You know, and we get up and go to school, man. And basically, Mom was a homebody. She took care of the her kitchen was the clinic. My grandmother on my dad's side was the same way.
So was she a stay-home wife and mother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, stay-home wife, mother, and teacher. The most interesting thing about our household was that Dad required for you, once you got home from school, after you did your homework and whatever else you need to do, you turn off the TV and you read. The first book he gave me was Facing Mount Kenya by Jomo Kenyatta. Okay, to read about the Gikuyu people. Okay, and the second book was Axioms of Kwame Nkrumah. You know, and
so your father was challenging you on an intellectual level.
Yes,
not only
at a very young age.
See, that's one thing that I missed. That's one thing I didn't get. I had to stay home with mother. My mother would stay home as well. But I didn't notice until I got older. But people told me, I don't know, like I guess I don't know. I was intimidating growing up. I don't know, man. People seemed like they was the kind of I don't know. I don't want to say scared or intimidated, but yeah, nobody was really, you know, and I just going through some therapy and talking to people and getting the feedback. I can remember some of the things I would say, like my father would say, like I always corrected him, you know, like you always corrected me, you know, but as a kid, because, you know, you just have those facts, boom, boom, I can remember the facts really well. And I remember I didn't even think I was doing that, but he insisted I did.
Okay.
He insisted I did. And like you have a son, so I just can't, I don't know what it's like to actually to have a, you know, you give birth to a boy and then you watch him grow into a man.
Wow.
But I've seen it I was a social worker and I was a mental health specialist in New Jersey. So when I would talk, you know, and these, you know what I'm talking about. And we going into the hood. These are some families, you know, dad coming out of jail.
Exactly.
You know, and so I could see the psychosis there because the man would be intimidated by the boy but in those cases he didn't raise the boy. You know what I'm saying? He's broken now. He's trying to go back into the home. He's been out and about. I don't even want to make it seem like it was always something bad because it wasn't. Circumstances.
Okay.
But the boy don't see it like that. The boy like, I don't know him. Who's he? And now he's 15 and he's 6'2". You know what I'm saying? He's 6'2", you know.
This cat 5'11".
Yeah. And I remember looking at that. I was like, I don't know why my father would have saw me like that though, because you know he was paying the bills. You know, but it was just interesting.
Wait a minute. You're saying that your dad saying that you were correcting him and that you were intimidating, or that you were?
Well, he never said I was intimidating, but I've had, you know, kind of therapeutic talks with people I really respect and who knew the situation. You know, now that we're grown, you know what I'm saying, and I'm getting it back. You know, and me supplementing some more information that they might not have known. And it's like, yeah, you know, this is not, and they were like maybe making it seem like this is not so uncommon. You know what I'm saying? But I guess with my father, it was more on an intellectual thing because, you know, he was literally the son of a sharecropper. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a complex.
Okay.
It's a complex.
And that I can relate to.
But hold on, this is the last thing. But the strangest thing to me when I think about that whole thing is, again, I don't have biological children, but I've dealt with so many children and still do to this day, and I see the dynamic so much. And as a teacher, you know, the greatest thing, I guess people lose balance because you're so, like, when you see your student, your son, your daughter exceeding your ability, you should take a bow, stand up and take a bow. You know what I'm saying? Because you've done the job. You even if you didn't, you provided the situation where they could, the fertile situation, no matter what is, you contributed to this. You're on the winning team. It's just like, I don't care if you block on the line, whatever you do. We won the Super Bowl. You a champ.
Yeah. Everybody get the trophy.
Right. Yep. You get a ring.
Everybody get a ring.
And the people on the team have equal respect for each other.
Exactly.
The fans know the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But everybody know the offensive line, the defensive line, you know what I'm saying?